Hone Harawira.
Kia ora tātou katoa e te whare. Mr. Speaker, whenever this House goes into urgency, and it's been happening a lot lately, we sacrifice the principle of democracy. Not the democracy defined as being the control of a group by the majority of its members, or majority rules, but rather the form of government in which the people have a voice in the exercise of power, typically through elected representatives. Legislation in this House should properly reflect the process of negotiation, discussion, debate and consultation. But taking bills through urgency from woe to go is by its very nature a denial of genuine democracy. It prevents people from having a voice, and that is a stage not far removed from all the totalitarian and communist states that we are always critical of in this House. And this bill is hugely important. Mr. Horomia, because it proposes a sea change in the way in which water will be viewed and how it will be managed. I understand that this bill is specifically about Canterbury, designed to respond to the concerns about the performance of Environment Canterbury and the urgent management of water within the Ecan catchment area. But I have no doubt that what is being proposed here will also become the basis for a template on how government manages water everywhere else. And that will impact on how Māori are involved everywhere in terms of the rivers, their lakes, their harbours and their seas. And that's where the Māori Party comes in, because we're the party who carries the interest of ensuring that issues about water management, including mana whenua, treaty claims in respect of water ownership, the management of water, water rights and privatisation are properly considered in any statement on water, just as we know that all of those matters also need to be considered in the review of the Resource Management Act. We also know that there are wider, more comprehensive issues about the way in which we protect our streams, our lakes, our rivers and our waterways from agricultural, industrial and domestic waste, as well as the adjoining land rights and the overall policy in respect of the way in which water is viewed here in Aotearoa. And all those matters demand greater debate and participation from Māori across the country, which will not be possible for this bill, given that it is being rushed through the House under urgency. Mr. Speaker, we're also concerned that this bill will effectively totally replace the Resource Management Act of 1991. It will place absolute administrative power in the hands of the unelected commissioners and the Minister for the Environment, and effectively take over the role and purpose of the Environment Court as well. Indeed, comments by Wyatt Creech that Ecan, in making decisions on water allocation, was placing too much emphasis on the environment, basically sums up the actual purpose of the bill, which would seem to be to support pro-business interests at all costs. The bill highlights a flawed belief in the myth that the environment must be balanced against the economy, the standard line from business interests on all things involving environmental issues, but the reality is that the economy is not a separate function, but a critical element of society itself. And society is utterly dependent on the environment, and we ignore this reality of nature at our peril. The bill also says that it will provide the commissioners with the powers to enable them to rapidly progress the development of the Canterbury region's resource management framework, freshwater in particular. But in fact, there will be no elected representatives. There's been no consultation. Māori will not have a proper role in how things are being run, and we will end up with an entity answerable only to the ministers of a government dedicated to maximising commercial return from a resource that everyone should have a say in. We've heard all the horror stories about Ecan, dead last in the 0708 survey on resource consents, always in the court over its decisions, under fire for institutional failure from the review group, and without the support of local iwi Ngāi Tahu as well. So we will be supporting this bill at first reading, but we signal our grave concerns about the way in which water is being considered without due concern for the treaty rights of Ngāi Tahu and the wider Māori interest in water across Aotearoa. Tēnā tātou katoa, Mr. Speaker.
Amy Adams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm very happy to be taking a call tonight on the ECAN Environment Canterbury appointment of temporary commissioners and improved water management bill. And I'm very happy to do it, sir, because I think everyone in this House would agree that Canterbury is a tremendously important region to New Zealand. It's tremendously important economically and it's tremendously important environmentally. And the Regional Council, sir, is a key body in the success of our region. It's the Regional Council that is charged with administering not only the management of our environmental assets, but also, sir, our economic development. The issue, sir, is that there have been long-standing and widely held concerns about ECAN's ability to carry out those functions. That's what this debate is about. That's what this need has come from. And the Creech report, sir, is the last in a long line of criticisms levelled at ECAN's very ability to do its job. That report, sir, found that the capability gap between what ECAN could do and what was needed was enormous and unprecedented. So the Regional Council has failed to properly look after water management in our area. It has failed to control water quality deterioration. It has certainly failed to have a plan for strategic economic development. And it has failed, after nearly 19 years of the Resource Management Act, to even come up with a natural resources plan that's operative in our district. This while other councils are onto their second generation of plan. Actually, sir, the Canterbury Strategic Water Management Study that we've heard talked about so much, and I support that, sir, I think it's a wonderful initiative, that is a response from the Mayoral Forum, not from ECAN, it's a response from the Mayoral Forum to ECAN's failures, Mr Burns, the failures that you are closing your eyes to deal with it in any way. One of the wonderful things that this legislation will do is at least give that Canterbury Strategic Management Framework a chance of success.
Order. Sorry to interrupt the member. The time has come for me to leave the chair. I shall resume the chair at 7:30.